everybody. Good evening. I managed to do all my moving around and get here on time. How's everybody doing? Happy Friday night. I feel like it's Friday. Um, I've been moving and shaking today, but have been very glad to have a little bit of downtime tonight. Husband is working late, and so I said, well, you know what? I never pass up an opportunity to spend time with my ladies and connect with you guys on whatever level, depending on the week that you've had thus far. Listen, we've had all the things. I had the honor of facilitating a workshop on self-care during the holidays for a local nonprofit here in Montgomery, which was really incredible. And then came home to meet and connect with the new clients, run around with children, etc., etc., etc. So if you guys know anything about sitting in and soaking in all the things, and then finally woosahing on in the evening time, you guys know exactly how the day has been. So I'm gonna make sure that we're live in all the places really quickly. I have had a whirlwind of a week, but it's been such a good experience over the course of time. I have been connecting and chatting with our ladies about exactly what we're going to talk about this evening, right? Exactly what we're going to talk about tonight, which is really knowing how to correlate what's working, what's not working, and then what will I do differently as a result. Okay. If you are new here, if you just so happen to stumble upon our Facebook community, I am Christina Garrett. I am honored to be a productivity coach for superstar working mothers, busy women, leaders who are organizing multiple facets of their lives. They are working to be more productive. They want to woo-saw and have more self-care time. They want to be fabulous and love themselves. They want to make sure that they're being a hot wife and a present mother. They also want to achieve their goals, but they want to do so in a balanced way. And so here in this community, we always implement and move towards how do I strategically plan in a way that honors my family needs, honors the needs that I have as a woman, the things that are going on in my life right now, the culmination of all of these layers. I said yesterday during our masterclass that like there's a big muddy area. Hey, everybody, a big muddy area when it comes to being a woman with a family who's also called to lead. Okay. You're sitting on one side, you have the classes, we're celebrating making business milestones, starting our own business, going back to school, all of these options. We love that, right? And then on the other side of that, we have bettering ourselves and self-care and learning and going to therapy and our healing process and being a gentle parent and all these things that we're trying to do during the course of this picture, this dynamic. But somewhere in between of you bettering yourself and your self-care, don't care, and growing your business and launching your career and doing all of this, there's this sticky, muddy area in between those two places where everything is trying to coexist, but teaching it to coexist can be challenging. Teaching it to coexist can be challenging. I did a post, maybe it was a few days ago, that I got a couple DMs about. You hear me? I got some DMs about this post about you learning how to work your goals out when you're married. When you're married, right? You learning how to work your goals out when you're a mother. You learning how to work these goals out as you wade through the sticky area in between these two places where you're trying to find your groove. And in some ways, you actually think that you're losing your mind. You feel like across the board, I must be the only person who is experiencing X, Y, and Z. I must be the only person that feels as though this is challenging right now. I must be the only person who is navigating, trying to grow through some of these very muddy areas. Hi, Lou. Good evening. I must be the only person that's having a hard time with this right now, only to find out that you're not the only person. You're not losing it in any way. Your life isn't broken, right? You're just going through a difficult and challenging season that requires something new from you. It requires something different. And so tonight I want to talk about, just for a few minutes, I want to tap on one of one of the pillars that we discussed yesterday during our masterclass. I'm gonna see if I can find it because I took notes and I wonder what I did with it. Which one was it? I want to talk about tonight. But the whole masterclass yesterday was about finding your flow, right? Learning to discover those amazing ways that you can work it out better. Okay. Not everybody wants to struggle. Not everybody wants to have to wade in the water and figure it out on their own. Like a lot of us want to find, how do I life hack my way to this area of success? How do I hurry up and get there? And we're not mad at you for it. Okay. And so yesterday, I was sharing how a lot of women, they come to me when they have these big audacious goals. Okay. They're working on, how do I tap into the resources? How do I figure this thing out in a way that honors my family life, my time management, my own self-care, and do it without burning out? And so Lou, I talked to, I have a new client, and we were talking on her call today about the burnout cycle. Okay, the burnout cycle. And I told her, I said, I saw this happen a lot with the women who went to the conference, right? Where they learned so many things, they got set on fire, their souls are set on fire. They're so excited, so ready, so passionate. And then once they get back home, they realize, wait a second, there's some missing areas in between what I said I wanted and what's actually happening. There's some serious missing areas. Okay. And so what we want to do instead is help you all to discover what the in-between looks like. Help for you to figure out, between you and I, how we're going to make it happen. How we're going to work through it. Negotiate through it. Breathe through it too. Okay. And so, because I've been in this vein for a consistent period of time, what's my hair doing today? There we go. Because I've been in this vein for a consistent period of time, I've worked with hundreds of mothers over the last several years. And I see that they go into this cycle of being excited, doing all the things, racing towards the finish line, feeling overwhelmed and burned out, quitting. Okay, they quit for a while, and then they shame themselves for quitting. They fall into this dark place when they quit. And then after that, they come through on the other side and they look for the next thing that's going to pump them up. The next thing is going to keep them excited. And my work over the last 6 months has been, how do we equip the ladies with the tools they need to stay at that heightened level of thinking? Is it possible that you can feel like you're motivated and on cloud nine on a regular basis? Is it possible that you wake up and you feel like, you know what, even though I'm kind of in a mood today or I'm kind of in a place today, I still believe very much so that this is for me? How do we stay in that place? And so I put a post up that, a couple people were like, listen, Christina, do you have to treat us this way? And I'm like, well, I love you guys. Like, of course I'm going to treat you this way, right? It's what it is. Like, I just love y'all so much. And so one of the things that I shared, I'm about to find it and read it to you guys. There we go. Let me find it so I can read it to you guys. Because y'all were like, I mean, people were like sending this out all day. And I was like, wait a minute. And so this is what I put. Okay. I said, look out for the places where you break promises to yourself. We will hold tight to what we told others or what we said for other people. Okay. We'll take our kids places. We end up being the mommy chauffeur. Good evening. We make sure that our families are growing. We don't let them miss out on their education. We don't let them miss out on their exciting moments. We want them to be all they can be, right? We make sure that we're handling our family needs and doing what we need to do for the family. Okay. And then the exchange of this is we find ourselves eating any old thing, treating our bodies like a trash can. Okay. We find ourselves canceling the things that we said we were going to do for ourselves. Okay. We cancel it. That trip to the gym, that massage, I can't find time for it. I'm just going for a walk to better myself. I got to move that off the schedule too. Okay. So we begin to nix out those things that we said we were going to do for ourselves. All right. We say that we will do a thing. Whatever the goal is, we say, now is my time. Yes, I will do this. I'm committed. I'm all in. And then we will become perfectly fine with not doing it, with not being that person, with letting it go. We'll be perfectly fine with it. We won't even feel guilty. We won't even shame ourselves. But there's something internal that knows I said I was going to do something and I didn't do it. And we comfort ourselves because we tell ourselves, but I kept this promise to my children. I kept this promise to my family members. I kept this promise to my job, kept this promise to my clients, these other people. I told my husband maybe last month or so, I said, I've hit some seriously amazing business milestones over the last 6 months, right? Like, I mean, the partnerships, the collaborations, the media opportunities, more women that were being impacted through coaching, like all of these things, right? Like business milestones. But you want to know a milestone that I don't want to reach again? Weighing as much as I did when I had my first son. That's a milestone I don't need to meet. Okay. And I told him, I said, what I will not do is meet all of these other milestones. And then the one that I said really affects me personally, my health and wellness, I let it go. Okay. So what tends to happen is we will keep our promises to a myriad of other people. We'll hold true to what we told them. We'll lean in. You know what? I really believe this. I really feel this. I'm dedicated. And we'll treat ourselves any kind of way. Okay? In what places in your life have you changed lanes too soon? In what areas of your life have you said you were going to do something, commit to something, be someone, grow into this woman, and you decided not to do it? In what area of your life did you say, I'm going to do this, and then you let it go? Maybe the only person that knew that it was supposed to happen was you, which is the reason a lot of times we hide from sharing our story. We hide from sharing our goals. We hide from sharing who we want to be. We hide from sharing our goals because then, God forbid, somebody actually holds me to the person I said I was going to be. An analysis of this for me is always, I was talking about certain media opportunities and goals that I had 2-3 years ago because I wanted to vocalize it out loud. This is where I'm going as a leader. And of course, I'm always inviting y'all to go with me, right? Like, oh, this is the goal you're trying to hit. We can do that. Okay. There are these moments, though, where we decide to shrink down, but nobody knows that we're shrinking. Everybody else thinks that we're living large and we're taking up big space. But you know inside, this is not comparing to who you said you were going to be. You know internally that that's not what you said. One of my clients, and I don't think she would mind me telling this, she said her and one of her good friends, they register for a 5K race every single year. And every single year, it's in January too, mind you. Every single year, they wake up, it's too cold at 7 a.m. and they get back into bed. She said they have been registering for this race for the last 5 or 6 years. And I told her, I said, how does that play out when you end up becoming the person that quits? You become the person that stops being motivated. My word is no longer causation enough for me to be motivated. I said I was going to do this. That's not motivation for me. I will find a way, find a reason to get out of it. Who have you said you were going to be? And then you said, you know what? Maybe next year. Maybe another time. Maybe you never even told anybody because it feels too much like reality to say it out loud, knowing that internally I'm not the person that will keep up with that work. I'm not the person that's going to do what I said I was going to do. Hey, ladies. I told myself I would be this person, but I know internally, I have not worked on my thoughts and my audacity and my confidence to actually go out and become this person. Right? So I'm gonna give you guys an example. For me, y'all see my skin is doing a kind of glowy thing. I came home from being out all day. And I said to myself, self, you said that you were going to make sure you were working out on a regular basis, right? Because we got pounds to lose. We don't want to wait for the new year to drop and get, we could drop 5 to 7 before the new year, right? If you go all in and do what you're supposed to do. And so I said to myself, self, you said you were going to work out. I put my clothes on. I turned the YouTube video on. This lady, this little bouncy chick that I really like her. She hardcore. And I'm like, I really don't feel like doing this. Like, you ever had something you really don't feel like doing? Like, you could have just taken your clothes off and gone and sat back down. That was me. And I told myself, though, that by 9 o'clock, 9:30, I was going to be on my couch. Okay? So I made the choice, made the decision. I pushed myself out of what I didn't really feel like doing, because you'll never feel like doing it, and went ahead and did what I needed to do. Right? Here's what we want to lean into is consistency is not you doing something every single day. Consistency is you responding to a new habit, a new choice, a new goal, and you work on it over the course of time. Over the course of time. The business definition of consistency is producing similar results over time. It is not every single day I do everything exactly like I said, But these daily moments, these small choices, these in-betweens are the difference between those who achieve the goal and those who do not. So then my question for my ladies is, are you lying to yourself? Are you keeping promises to everyone else, but then when it comes to you, you lie? You say, we're going to do this. We're going to be this person. But you lie. You're not telling the truth. You said you're going to do everything that's on the vision board. And nobody really knows. Because you can make the promise or come up with the idea and then just keep it inside. Nobody really has to know. So whenever I do a discovery call with a client, right, potential client, I'm like, okay, if you could wave the magic wand, though, and have the best year of your life, what would that look like? And then sometimes they sit with it. I had a call with a sis yesterday, and she was like, I have no idea. And she was expecting for me to move on. She was expecting for me to say, okay, that's fine. If you don't know, let's move on to the next thing. I told her, I said, I set aside a whole hour for this conversation. I'm not in a rush. We can sit here until you feel inspired enough to declare, this is what I see for my future. I'll sit here with you these 5 extra minutes, these 7 extra minutes until you get an idea of your vision for the future. If you can give me something to work with, you and I together can figure out how it's going to happen, right? We'll create the results. The question is, do you know what you actually want? And are you okay with being the person that goes to get it? Are you okay with being the person that says, you know what? There are some intangible things, some things that I can't quite see that are keeping me from becoming this person. It's that muddy in between self-care, don't care. And of course I'm in therapy, I'm healing and all these things. And then you have the business courses and the business classes and I'm growing over here and I'm healing over here and I'm trying to do all this stuff. But there's this in between that when you come down from all of this, from the mountaintop, there's your very real life still right there. In the midst of your real life, are you willing to still be her? Are you willing to tell other people, I'm sorry, I love you, you have to wait? My 5-year-old, he don't care about anybody's anything. I'm teaching him to wait. Mommy will get you something, but you have to wait until I get out the shower. Or you have to wait until I'm done getting dressed or working out. This is like my safe bubble. I'm allowed to declare this. But are you more okay with committing and keeping promises to other people than figuring out these intangible things? These things that people really can't see, you can't feel. Like, Feeling overwhelmed or thinking overwhelmed, you feel like your capacity is limited, is literally a thought. It's not anything that you can pick up and hold. However, the effects of overwhelm are tangible, right? The effects of it, I can touch and feel. So and we talked about this yesterday, how, it might be your back, your neck that starts to lock up, right? You can't function like you used to function. You're not moving around. You're not mobile like you used to be. You say you're committed to being more active or to being more organized or all these things. This very intangible feeling in a very touchable world. So what happens is some of us, because of this, what we feel is limited capacity, okay? When we feel as though I need to move on because my life doesn't have space for this. Okay, so for example, when my kids were really small, I loved to go run. Running was my mental wellness. It was my self-care. I didn't even consider it to be exercise. It was like that, okay? I had to leave the house childless in order to like reset myself, okay? My husband used to work early mornings and late nights. And in order for me to be on and be the mom that takes care of everything, or be the wife that takes care of everything, sometimes I will forego my running slot so he could rest, right? Or I will forego my running slot because this over here needs to be taken care of, knowing good and well that Christina unrunned is a tyrant. I'm a tyrant. I'm a mess. So my husband would be like, you need to go for a run. Like, come back in 30 minutes. Because your attitude, like, you need to go reset yourself and then come back after. Okay? But what was my first go-to? What was my first thought? My first thought was, oh, I should just give up doing this other thing that I know I could be doing. We'll work so hard to keep the promises to everyone else, let the promises down to ourselves, right? We'll break the promise to ourselves that we said we were going to do something. We said we were going to be this person. We'll say, well, you know what? I'll do this another time. I'll do this another year because my husband said this, because my kids need this. Most of our kids are grown, like half grown, right? A lot of us, children tall as we are. And we're still talking about all of this extra presence, right? That we need to be having going on. Okay? We're still using them as the reason why not. And so then in the midst of that, what we do is we start, we don't finish, or we start, we leave it alone too soon, and then we feel like my life can't handle this, me working this through to completion, therefore, I need to go switch and do something else. This isn't working. And what I share with multiple clients this morning, yesterday, is the idea that you cannot troubleshoot on something that you did not finish. You cannot do inventory. You cannot examine what worked, what didn't work, what you'll do differently. You can't look at any of this stuff until it's done, right? You can't say, oh, I would fix this, but you never finished it. So we need to do an analysis, right? We need to sit back for a second and say, wait a minute, I never actually walked this through to completion, and yet here I go changing my lane. We blame all of these other factors, our capacity, our husbands, our children, our business needs, our career. We have all what I don't know, what I know too much of. We have all of these things that are external, instead of focusing in on the very intangible, untouchable, invisible things that actually cause the issue. Can I be honest enough to say out loud, my children do this because I allowed it? My husband doesn't understand that this is important to me because I don't know how to communicate that. I have not carved out space in my life, in my schedule, in my world for this activity that is very important to me. Okay. And so I talked to my client this morning and I said, listen, I'll find a half marathon to run too. I'll find one too. So we can train at the same time and just be total about. She said, I used to run. I used to do that. I said, me too. I said, I still do, but not as consistently as I want so that my progress continues to collect. How do you troubleshoot something and say what's working or isn't working if you never finish it? And then you jump ship and switch. I'm doing a YouTube program now with this lady. Her name is Sydney something. And she has a program that's 60 days long for free on YouTube. Get your heavy weights. You can do it at home. And it's called Summertime Fine, right? Who cares if it's winter? I'm going to take these 60 days. And then my inkling internally is always, girl, this is not working. You ain't made it to day 60. Y'all hearing me? What project are you abandoning too soon? What efforts are you letting go of because it feels like it's taking more than it should? Are you sitting in it? Are you soaking in it? Or are you saying, you know what, this isn't working, I'm just going to move on? And I don't have any shame for you either way, okay? My thought is simply, let's just look at the circumstance. We're just asking questions. We're just looking at the circumstance to see. We're looking at the circumstance to see what it is. Am I leaving this lane too soon? Did I quit too soon? Right? Did I quit too soon, y'all? Did I say I was going to do this and then I stopped? And trust me, I get it. I understand looking at your current life. I got 5 children. They are here all the time. They are homeschooled. I wanted to do this live out there in my, not in my little quiet corner, but out in my dining room sitting. And it was like, nope, not today. They still up. They still out. So I had to say, okay, you know what? We're just going to revamp. It'll be fine, right? But I could very well have said, you know what? Never mind. And so very, very often what we do instead of staying the course is we will revamp, move ourselves, switch lanes into something that feels better. Into something that feels better. We've all seen the people who have the quote unquote 7 streams of income and they're like, okay, I'm an author. I sell candles. I do insurance. I'll wash your car on the weekends. They got so many jobs, right? Like it's like a lot of things. You're like, wait a second. Some people like to overwhelm people with how much they know and how much they do, only to realize that certain things aren't as lucrative as you would like for them to be. Some of us, we switch lanes and we call it because I'm a creative. I'm a creative. I'm a visionary. Of course I should go and do this other thing. The Bible says that you write the vision and make it plain, right? So that they can run. But here he says the vision is yet for an appointed time. Are you moving the appointed time for this new project? This idea, this vision? Visions are pictures of the future, right? A vision is like, oh, this is what's happening over here. So we have to do this analysis. We have to do this inner check-in. We got to do some inventory and say, you know what? I might be quitting too soon. Have I sat with this long enough to troubleshoot? Have I sat with this idea long enough to make it work? Have I worked on communicating long enough to see the difference? Have I taught and trained my children long enough that they understand how to do it without me having to coach them? Have I done my part? Have I leaned in? Have I said what needed to be said? And so for all the women that come to me and they have these really big goals and they're excited and they feel like, you know what, Christine, I'm still micromanaging. I'm still hovering over some things. I still feel like I have to be the primary problem solver. That's okay. But this is part of you building your capacity out. This is part of you stretching what feels like a very tight balloon. Whenever you go to stretch cold muscles, right? You got to warm them up before you try to stretch them. And so we have these places where we want to get out of our own head and move past it being perfect and instead learn to choose to stay with it. Revamp when necessary, right? Like you finish this project, you made it to the end, and then you get to revamp. Then you get to troubleshoot and say, okay, I'm going to do something different, try something different. Okay? But we can't just jump ship because we feel like this is what should automatically happen. It should have happened by this time. If it hasn't, I should move on to something different. Okay? We really got to do our weighing and look at these intangible things. Overwhelm, intangible. Frustration, intangible. Feeling flustered, right? Like I just can't seem to get on top of it. That's also intangible. Okay? So we have to do that work. All right? Okay, everybody, my dinner and my couch is calling. As I get ready to wrap up tonight, I want to make sure that I announce that the Mamathon Mastermind is coming. This is our first time working together in a group setting over the course of 6 months. Okay. Really excited about it. I've been honored to, as I said, work with and coach hundreds of mothers over the last several years. A lot of my clients are in the corporate sphere. They're mom entrepreneurs. They are savants in the boardroom. They are attorneys. They're political leaders, actresses, right? They're mental health experts, therapists, psychiatrists, a wide range of dynamic women who are doing epic changes in the world. Okay. And so for a lot of these ladies, you see that you have this big, amazing idea. You see how you want to create a different flow for your life and your work-life balance, but you're trying to figure out how to make it all work together. Okay. Most of my clients are mothers, period. Some of them have multiple children, like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 children. Okay. And we work together to organize all of this busyness, what can sometimes feel like chaos. Okay. What can sometimes feel like this over the topness, this overwhelm, where you're trying to bring it all together. You literally might feel like you're losing it. How in the world does this person do it and that person do it? It's because we're tapping into something. Okay. We're tapping into this work-life hack where we no longer try to do all the things, but instead we constrain and we streamline. Okay. And so over the course of those 6 months, we'll be talking about our relationships, our self-care. We'll be talking about mental health. We'll be talking about business strategy. You guys get to lean in and see how Mamathon has moved from a blog starting out, right, to a Facebook page, to a community, to now we've had 8 annual sold out and profitable conferences, even through the pandemic. And then you guys will also get to see how to be your own publicist, right? How to put your name out and apply for amazing, lucrative opportunities without burning out. Okay. This is what we do here. This is what we do here. We hit our goals in half the time without burning out, without going into that cycle. Okay. The get excited cycle where you do all the things and you get motivated and then you end up burning out. And then you shame yourself for burning out, and then you get excited again, and you just continue to repeat this cycle over and over and over again. No, we want to pull you out of that cycle. We want to help you to make decisions faster. We want to help you to look at the big picture and be able to train your mind to see opportunity everywhere you go. And yes, we want to do it while being loving wives. And yes, we want to do it while being present for our children. And yes, we want to do it while taking care of ourselves. Okay. And so with all of that, I would love to invite you to come and be a part. The investment is $2,000. All right. And there are payment arrangements available. So if you want to come in, you're like, Christina, listen, I know 6 months isn't for me. The 6 months one-to-one coaching isn't for me right now, but this right here is up my lane. Okay. Then I want you guys to slide into my messenger. Let's talk about it. One of my commitments is that the women that I come to invite to this experience and the women that I work with as a coach and client relationship make their money back from working with me. Okay. They make their money back. They just do. Through partnerships, through working with organizations that pay them for their voice, all of these things, through sponsorships, they make their money back. Okay. And so we want to continue that trend of women doing exactly what they love, but it also being lucrative. Okay. And also helping them to meet the needs of their family, for their businesses to grow. It was Natalie Bullen, I don't know if she's watching tonight, that corrected my theory. I said that Black owned, women owned businesses make 27K. She corrected it and said it's 24K. That most Black women owned businesses or women of color businesses only make $24,000 a year. Okay. We're here to break that, but to do so with balance. We're here to break that and do so with balance so that you don't go into hustle mode, having to do all the things and feeling like if I'm not doing it, there's something wrong with me, then my life is broken in some kind of way. Okay. We want to give you the confidence to go for the bigger ask. And then sort through those intangible areas as well, where it's that relationship with your husband, it's your relationship with your kids, it's organizing your family, all of that stuff in between too. We're going to help you to constrain and streamline your efforts so that you're not doing 10 different ideas and trying to hurry up and make it all happen and you're in a rush. But instead, you know that you're applying yourself accordingly to produce the right result. Okay. Here we believe that you are responsible for putting your seed in the ground. You are responsible for prepping your soil. Okay. That might be your business structure, your strategy, your social media, your platform, your branding, your pitches and all that stuff. That is you prepping your soil. And then of course, God is in charge of doing the rest. Okay, God is in charge of the rain and the temperature changes and the sun, right? He's in charge of those other things. But I can have sun come out and then the rain pour on the soil. But if there's no seed in the ground, there will be nothing. There'll be no result. Okay, we want to make sure that you get the results that you've been praying for. Okay, so if you're interested in coming and working with us for quarter 1 and quarter 2 for next year, I want you to slide in my messenger right now. Let's talk about how we can make sure that you're a part of it. You have a flexible payment option if that's what you need, but I literally created it for those clients who aren't quite at the I can do 6 months one-to-one place yet. That's okay. I feel like coaching at this point is my icing on the cake. You know, like our partnerships, our organizational partnerships are very lucrative right now. The coaching consulting aspect is amazing. You know, coaching for me right now is just such a light, loving way for me to make sure that everyone around me is also stepping into that place. And so some of us aren't sure how to do it. So this mastermind is going to show you how to be your own publicist, to create your own doors, and to do so with that work-life balance that we've been looking for. Okay. So if that's you, slide in my DMs after this is over. Say, Christina, girl, I'm ready. I know that this is for me. Let's figure out how we can make sure that you're a part. Okay. I'm going to go and relax and put my feet up. I'm very excited. I've been looking forward to this all day. Okay. I've been excited about this. If no one else has told you yet today, sis, you are remarkable, amazing, phenomenal, dedicated, disciplined. You're capable of doing everything that you put your mind to. And so now we get the opportunity to turn the heat up. And I'm so excited for what you all are going to create. Okay. Love you guys so much. I look forward to talking with you all in my messenger and have a great night.